Hello. Today I will discuss about the question number 2 for the unit 2, and question number 2 is how do you develop the self-critical understanding of the basic realities of the man-made divisions? और उसका क्वेश्चन और भी क्या लिख सकते हैं and discuss the effect self-critical understanding of the basic realities of the man-made divisions over the time of the scale. So actually we have discussed the understanding man-made divisions of the reality. What is the reality क्या है? Man-made divisions का realities क्या है? We have just discussing about their self-critical understanding points. Race plays the important role in lives of human beings. Everyday life, human beings think that race is the most important rule for every person. It is necessary to sensitize students of the implications of decisions made on the basis of race. Some man-made factors that make individuals differ in several aspects. An understanding of these factors is essential for critical thinking, or critical understanding of these factors is essential the critical understanding of the self. These divisions stem from race, religion, gender, culture, education, relations, and so on. These divisions emerge steadily and systematically on time scale. Different culture offer different perceptions to individuals, and one must be sensitive to culture variations in the world. When you think about the divisions, तो क्या हमको ये करना क्या जरूरी है? Why you will do this one? Just to remember it. So we have just considering a word race. Race represents us the runs among the different peoples. Nowadays, every person runs. Every student runs for his lives, for his implications of decisions, and for his implication of individual thoughts, individual aspects. What are these implications of what you think and what you express you want to do? And the division stem of race, religion, gender, culture, education, relation, so on. These divisions emerge steadily and systematically on a time scale. Different culture offer different perceptions to individuals, and one must be sensitive to the cultural variations in the world. Man-made divisions, areas of genders, man-made divisions or areas gender. All cultures in the world present gender stereotypes. Several governments all over the world have taken many legal, legislative, and administrative measures to put an end to get discriminations. It is essential to maintain good relations at home, at workplace, and in the society. One has to learn to appreciate the variations and different among men and women, and sensitive to such variations. Such an attitude would an end to many evils, harassments, and gender-based prejudices. We'll come to the man-made divisions. Suppose we are searching a man-made divisions. Man-made divisions. Technologically, you can search that. Internet is also man-made divisions. When you can search various things into the man-made divisions. Police, synthetic division, that is also man-made divisions. How does synthetic divisions polymer work? That is man-made divisions. Synthetic divisions, one can say. Man-made divisions, we can say. So man-made divisions, that is different form of this life actually. So when I come to the man-made divisions, the government, several governments has also taken its decision. Taken many legal, legislative, and administrative measures to put and the endangered news. Economic conditions. Remember, economic condition. What is the economic conditions? Economic conditions influence human interactions and decisions. Many decisions like marriage, vocational choices are made on the basis of economic conditions. The economic conditions, it is also influence the women's life. Whenever a person will take the decisions, that depends upon the economic conditions. For a various proposal, that also depends on the economic conditions. Vocational choice, that is also depends on the economic conditions. When you buy something, that is also depend upon the economic conditions. You use a car, that is also depend upon the economic conditions. So you want to go one place to another place through bus, through train, through flight. So that is also depends on the economic conditions. So that are the some economic conditions. And next, educations. Educations, that is basically initial Brahmin gurus offer education, later temples also become a center education. Education is a powerful technique or agent translations and transmission process. It can turn the brute into a man, and it can bring the needful modifications in the perceptions and behaviors of individuals. So, great important role play the education for human beings. Education which provides everything is well known about that matter. A person can changes his perceptions and his behaviors individuals. That is called education. So these are the critical understanding on the basic realities of the man-made divisions. These the basic divisions of the person. Next, another question is that what is the nature necessary for a gender difference for onset and continuity for human race? Gender differences in the mental functions and behaviors of the men and women. In this world, there are two types of people are there, that is men and women only. So when human race is considered, that means that is race is between the women and men also. Genetics and environmental differences may lead to different differences. Many communities expect men to be independent and competitive and women to more sensitive and passive. So Whenever we discuss about the competent between the human race, that is we consider in my mind the men and women only. And basically men is considered independent income होना चाहिए and competitive होना चाहिए. But for the case of women, that we have not considered. And we just feelings that the woman must be more sensitive and passive होना चाहिए. इससे हम कहते हैं. The gender difference is development in development. Gender difference in development. How to develop the gender? It is a critical level. Dependency, timidity, exploratory activity, and voluntarily to be stress. Boys are more aggressive and girls are more nurturing. Boys have more speech, reading, and emotional problems than girls. There are no gender differences in conformity, society, and self-esteem. Brain analysis of the gender difference and gender. This may help explain male success at a spatial and math scales. It is also explain female tendencies to more flexible than males. Biological basis the gender humanity. And human being develop begins with our sex chromosomes and hormones. Sex chromosomes and hormones, that is the basic development begins with our sex chromosomes. Determination of sexual characteristics begins at a conception. When a woman's ovum, the female reproductive cells with 23 single chromosomes, is fertility by sperm. Sperm is a cell where fertility happens. The results is expected to product the characteristics human cell with a total of 46 chromosomes. These pairs, only one pair, sex of chromosomes, controls the genetic sex of the child. The woman's ovum possesses on X chromosomes for sex, while the male's sperm of cell chromosome X or Y. When X bearing sperm cell fertilize begins the ovum, the genetic establishes the female when Y begins sperm fertilize this genetic cells. This explanation of the development of the sexual characteristics allows one to conduct that the male sperm cell controls the sex of the offspring and that chromosomes are the determinants of the sexual characteristics construct. This explanation with blaming of women that goes on in our society when she fails to deliver a male child in traditional societies such as ours. It is generally the woman who is held the responsible for sex of child. Such attitudes that not based on fact are often the result of the prejudices and the discriminations against women. Prejudices in attitude generally negative towards the members of some groups based only their memberships that a group, and that is a person who is prejudiced towards some social group. Women tends to evaluate its members. So, some other conditions of the social basis of the gender identity. Social basis of the gender identity. Psychologists have the studies four groups. Four groups play the significant role in teaching, rewarding, and punishing to get the gender appropriation behavior. Teaching, rewarding, and punishing. They are parents, schools, peers, and the media, that books, television, film, etc. For the parents have many scold for a boy is crying after being the physically taught not to cry like a girl. Such statements indicate that young boy that the needs to be true in order to qualifying began to men. He also learns that it is possible for girls and to cry, to be weak. The basic masculinity and feminine behaviors thus light. Similarly, a girl who fond of outdoor likes clean trails may be by the parents to stop behaving like the boy instead of a mother in kitchen. Now, the social basis gender identities actually there are the two types of genders we can study. We can teachers also gives the teaching, rewarding and punishing, and all the parents. जितना भी parents school teachers all the students will follow the different type of books, television, etc. So parents have the good nature to maintain their behavior on equally to both the boys and girls. So that is the gender diversity. Children are able to grasp gender identity at about the age of 2. Between ages 4 and 7, children generally begin to understand the gender consistency and concept that sex is basic and enduring attribute for each person are in place. Our perception are strongly influenced by what we have to gender already 2 to 3 years they have influenced that is a boy or that is a girl. As the child progress, children begin learn culturally designated the appropriate and inappropriate characteristics associated with the boys or girls. By age of 5, gender stereotypes begins the upward. Stereotypes or cognitive framework suggesting that all the persons belonging to the social group show feminine characteristics. Gender stereotypes are stereotypes concerning the traits or characteristics. Supposedly, the possessed by the men and women. In many cultures, common gender stereotypes suggest that women are assumed to possess a depth and passivity, debit and emotional. The children who grow up sex typing occurs when they learn the stereotype associated with the maleness and femaleness in their culture. By the time the individuals enters adolescence, when both boys grow up or girls who grow up, they can feel maleness and they can feel the femaleness in their culture. The adolescence represents his sex criteria. Sex typing involves the both biological contributions and specifications of instructions are constructed our culture and passed on those through the process of socialization. Thus, children learn through the socialization practices, behaviors, and characteristics consideration appropriate for their sex. They learn to behave in a ways that are identified as masculine, feminine, gender males also. So what are the influence of the family gender typing? The parents' influence on children's gender type. Families organize the behavior and different for boys and girls. Boys and girls are addressed differently and receive different toys to play with. Parental behavior towards girls and boys. Girls and boys are treated differently by their parents. Boys are thought to be stronger and treated roughly where girls are protected. not expected to achieve as much as their mathematics. For parents' behavior towards the girls and boys, कैसे parents का behavior होना चाहिए. The parents always thought, every time parents thought that boys to be stronger and treated roughly. Boys to be stronger and treated roughly. But girls are protected, not expected to achieve much in the area of mathematics. Modeling parents' characteristics. Parental characteristics influence gender typing in terms of role models. Parent power has a great impact on sex typing in boys and girls. Girls will consider mother as a role model. Will consider mother as a role model, and parents reinforce girls to participate in feminine activities. Parents' absence and unavailability. Father plays a critical role in the development of children's gender roles. His absence leads to distribution in the gender type. Books and television. Male and female roles are portrayed in gendered. Stereotype ways in books and TV. Men are portrayed as aggressive, rational, powerful workplace than female. So books and televisions are both attractive, and both female and male are both attractive their characteristics, and motivated them. Women are likely to be leading characters on TV. Peers, genders, roles, self-esteem also is there. School and teachers. So cognitive factors in gender differences. Cognitive factors. Gender schema theory. Kolber's cognitive development theory. Gender activity, gender stability, gender consistency. These are the schema theory. Schema theory क्या होता है ना? The schema theory was formally introduced by Sandra 1981 and explained that how individuals became a gender in the society and how sex linked the characteristics of the maintained and translated to other members of a culture. Gender associated information is predetermined, determinately transmitted through the society by the way of the schema networks. Surprisingly, Kolber's cognitive development theory also conducted in the time, and he explains that the development theory was also closely linked with the pigments analysis for the age-related cognitive changes a child goes through. Age also important for the case. Action and behavior that comes different from different age group. This emphasizes importance of a child understanding about gender roles and their permanent placement in it. After child can fulfill grasp of the concept gender, specific information will become more relevant. This idea of the gender consistency is similar to begins concrete the gender step. Gender stability. The child recognizes that they are either a boy or a girl, possesses the ability to label others. The identity in which they recognize themselves as does not change. Gender's consistency. The acceptance that gender does not change regardless of the change in the gender. When a child is able to fully grasp gender, stable understanding about themselves, usually between the ages of 5 and 7, motivation to master their orientation to socialize themselves, allow them to see some exit models to learn about the gender types. Another question is there also. Another question, how do you create critical understanding of the basic realities of the culture difference across the time scale and across the globe? Explain the need of critical thinking of the basic realities of cultural difference across the time and scale in the globe. Culture refers a group of community which shares common experiences. Cultural and ideological differences persist all over the world. In this world, we just follow the culture or cultural or ideological differences. Much of differences in culture have to do with food. Culture means have to consider food difference, food preparation, music. What each culture considers the politeness. Cross-culture observation can easily miss the part of the factors like the perceived status difference, which can create barriers between the culture and organizations. Receptiveness and effectiveness question help students and teachers to understand the variations among the different cultures. The different cultures are followed for the different state have different cultures, different country have different cultures, different caste has different cultures. So cultures should be differences. Why do you understand the culture difference? World is becoming diverse, and in order to build the communities, there is a need to understand the cultures. It is important to establish relationships with the people from the cultures and other their own. Impact of globalizations in culture. Interchange of world views and ideas has resulted in a major transformations of life. India culture has new expressions, globalizations has not only integrated in India, but India culture has also spread its impact globally. Nowadays, more students choose study to overseas for expanding their cultural diversity people who own their perspective own cultures and stand at more competitive positions. Examples of variations of cultures. Laughing is a connected cannot in the most countries with happiness in Japan. It is often to shine the confusion. Different country when we say the first which is in Africa saying to a female friend one has not seen for a while that she has put on weight means she is physically healthy is than we for or hand nicely. Negative impact of cultural globalizations. The spread of interest started imposing the global and foreign cultures on the native cultures. The most important for teaching or reaching effort of the culture globalization is commercialization of culture. Positive impacts of globalization. क्या पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट होगा ग्लोबलाइजेशन का? Arts, cultures, integrations of cultures spread more and more scope of the international interactions. Promotion interaction, understanding the understanding. What is the educational significance? Project works and group activities are to be organized to high richness in others activities. The cultural motivation of the parents close related to their expectations regarding the education and the children. Socialization strategies are integrated with the classroom practices. So education significance also very important for the positive, negative thinkings purposes. Okay, so these are covered for the unit 2, and next we'll discuss the unit 3. Thank you.